Hey everyone, we're here today at Curious Flora with Colleen here, who is an absolute gem and a master of all things flora. Get it? And we're here because I think they're kind of known for their poppies. And we stumbled upon this Swan poppy. This is just it in its little baby form, but it turns into like a swan's down looking poppy. But when is a good time to plant this?
So fall is a great time to be planting your Papavers.
Okay.
So this is I'm so sorry, my brain just glitched.
No.
Where do you want to restart?
No, she's
Or
fine.
just
Keep
go and
going,
we'll
she'll cut it.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is one of our Papavers that we grow. We grow, I think, ballpark about 20 different varieties.
I've seen a bunch of them around here. They're amazing.
Yeah. And I think this is the perfect time to be planting Papavers. So my favorite stretch to plant the Papavers is between October and February.
Okay.
Depending on your growing conditions, you can go further into the season, but the further you get into spring, the less of a show you're going to get.
We want big show.
Yeah, I feel like big show.
We want big show.
You want a big show, you want a long show.
Yeah.
That's why you do the fall planting.
Okay.
It is a cold, hardy annual. So for most people, unless you're getting really, really hard freezes or you have exceptionally wet soils, mid to late fall into early winter is the optimal time to be planting the Papavers.
We're 9B, so we're a little north of you in Sacramento. We're here in Richmond, and if you haven't been here, this is actually my first time,
Yeah,
Christy's
both of
first
us.
time coming here. You need to come here. We're going to include some of the video of the whole area here, but definitely amazing selection. You have a porcupine tomato plant.
Oh yeah. What's the history of that?
That thing's amazing. It's like
Who's
a mean
using
old
that?
man would plant those all in his garden.
Who's getting back at somebody?
It is kind of the cure of, or like at the core of what we do, which is curious plants.
Yes.
It is the strange, it is the odd, it is the peculiar, it is the big, beautiful poppies that. So this one, when planted early and sized up properly, you end up with a plant that's about 5 feet tall with blooms. You can get taller than I am, so you can get up to 6 feet tall out of these. So it really is a showstopper.
Yeah.
It's a heavy, heavy bloomer. It is as many petals as any plant or like any flowers have ever put on it.
Well, and when I think of poppies,
I think of the
orange, 2 foot.
Off the side of the road,
Yeah.
poppies.
So to think of a 6 foot poppy sounds phenomenal.
So those would be our
Matilda poppy,
Scholzias. So our Scholzias are our California native poppies. Those we probably do about 14, 15 different varieties on them. A lot of people think of the Scholzias or California poppies as an annual. They're actually short-lived perennials. I've gotten my perennial poppies to push for about 3, going on to 4 years. And I can usually get about 8 to 10 months out of bloom on them, just by cutting them back about once or twice a year.
And are those invasive?
That's what you hear.
I hear that, and I'm always scared.
That's why we haven't dabbled in them.
I would describe them as aggressive reseeders.
Okay.
Actually, I wouldn't even go so far as to say aggressive reseeders. There are aggressive reseeders out there. I would call them polite reseeders. They are polite and reliable reseeders. I almost always expect to get them in the garden. They're really, really easy to get out, both at immature stages, even at mature stages. They're quite easy to pull.
Oh, good to know.
So it's not something that you're
fantastic.
ever going to regret planting.
It's not mint.
No, no, it's not like that where you'll get an aggressive root system. It's a single taproot that goes down. So when you get them at this small little squidgy stage, just take them out with a hoe. If you let them go even further, it's still an easy one pull. Shouldn't have any trouble getting.
God, I
rid
feel
of
like we're
them.
going to be a poppy garden now.
I know. I don't know if we got a picture of what they actually look like.
It's like
that is.
it does look like a big.
Yeah, it does. Like the back end of them, like they're. Yeah. So when do you pull them? When are you talking about when you said you pull them? After
If you
they've
want
done
to get
their-
rid of
after
them.
you've done. Okay.
Well, so we've branched off into 2 different poppies, and they're both poppies that we specialize in. So the Papavers are the introduced non-native poppies that people like. The Scholzias, those are our California native poppies.
Those are the ones that the orange,
Yeah.
the typical California
So the one
state
that
flower.
you expect to get to about 18 inches to 2 feet tall. We have everything from a super nice, soft, pale, it's a pink blush color called champagne. She's so classy.
Yeah.
And then we've got
She's a classy broad.
like the traditional orange. and then a whole spectrum in between. So we've got purple gleam, which is going to be purple. We have the apricot chiffon, which is going to be more orange with some blushing red edges to it. We've got a whole wide selection of those, as well as the papavers, but it's a really great way to have an entire year's worth of bloom in the garden. So you've got your spring blooming, your late winter, mid to late spring blooming papavers, and then you have your heavily blooming through spring and summer, and then usually a second flush if you keep them in poppy, California native poppy bloom.
Okay.
So what is blooming now for poppies? Like what do you have flowers on,
Nothing.
blooms on? Nothing. But you said a year long.
So actually in my own garden, I have our native poppies blooming right now because I cut them back a couple times a year.
Okay, that's
and
a
the trick to keeping the California native poppies as a short-lived perennial rather than just an annual is you do have to let them look a little garbagey for a little bit of time. So it usually is only about 2 to 3 weeks. Just let them die back naturally on their own. Draw back on the water. As when you start to see them dry out, you want to cut back on the water, let them die back a little bit, and let them go full garbage for about 2 weeks. And then if you look at the base of the plant, you're going to see a little bit of growth pushing. Wait until that growth gets to be about 1 inch to 1.5 inches long, and then you can cut all that garbage off.
I think that should be another t-shirt. Let it go a little garbage.
Yeah, I love it.
It has been a motto in my own life where I was just like, I've been going full garbage for a real long time. You don't have to do all of that. You don't have to do all of that. It won't last a lifetime. It's just a couple weeks.
It's okay.
That's okay.
Well, thank you so much, Colleen. I think now, Christine, I know that we are going to be somewhat of a poppy garden.
And
a
come back here
papaver.
several times.
Papaver.
The stuff that you have here,
It's not
like
a popover.
I already have a cart full of a couple different things that are things that we don't have at our nursery by us. So that's why I want you to come to our area and sell some plants.
And we are looking at moving into our plant material into nurseries, retail nurseries throughout Northern California. The goal is within 2 years to be down in Southern California as well.
Cool.
We're really, really excited about what we're growing. It's not even low-key. This is my favorite time of year. I love fall. And I love fall because there's so much to talk about as far as when is the right time to plant plants.
Yep.
For almost all of us in California, unless you're at really high elevations, unless you get really hard freezes, fall is going to be the best time to plant just about everything.
Okay.
Once you get into the warm season annuals, obviously you're going to want to take a minute. You're going to want to put them in mid to late spring, inwards into mid to late summer. Outside of that, now it's the time for perennials. Now it's the perfect time for spring blooming annuals. The thing I hate that breaks my heart is seeing people come in the middle of spring and they see our gardens in bloom and they're like, I want that, I want that, I want that. And I say, put it on your calendar for fall. It's
4 months
too late. Yeah, I'm like,
okay.
it's too late to plant in then. Now it's the time to be thinking about what do you want to do for yourself for the spring. Set yourself up.
I hope my husband's listening because you heard Colleen say now's the time to
need to buy
buy
plants
everything.
now.
Plant it now. So if you need some like enthusiasm and motivation, or you need a husband like little push, Colleen said it best. Now.
Yes, I agree. I actually have one question about this plant that is over there. Can we go over here? I want to know.
Yes,
come on.
it's a field trip now.
Come on. Okay, so can I grow these in my area?
So you should be able to grow some selections of proteas. There are some that don't do quite as well as others. Where you're in Sacramento, yes?
Yeah, so I have the one that has the orange balls with the
So the leucospermums.
Yeah, so nothing's happened. It's flowered, it's got the little black thing on the top, and nothing has happened.
How does your plant look?
It looks
Does it look
beautiful.
healthy?
It looks very
Great.
healthy.
So they do prefer to be in soil that's well drained.
Okay, it is with rock. I have rock all around it too.
You don't want to fertilize them like you're going to fertilize your other plants. So you don't want to, I believe it's phosphorus that they respond poorly to.
Oh, okay.
So you want to avoid that. We do have somebody coming out we've got a lovely couple that are coming out to the nursery next weekend. They are the authors of The Dry Lush Garden, and this is their wheelhouse. So it's the leucospermums, it's the leucodendrons, it's the proteas. And so they're going to be talking about their power players. Like, what are their plants that they rely on most heavily to create beautiful, lush, dry gardens? And what's wonderful about this duo is they have a lot of experience working in Walnut Creek and the hotter regions. Okay. So they have a lot of really good advice that would carry over exceptionally well to people who are in Sacramento and in the hotter and drier regions, as opposed to us who are pretty cushy and spoiled over here. I'm up in Santa Rosa. I'm in Santa Rosa, so I'm like the halfway in between, where she's like, oh yeah, I definitely get some coastal influence, but it can also get a little sizzly midsummer. And so it is that thing of figuring out, okay, how far can I push this into the warmer and drier regions? And if it's not inclined to be in the hottest part of my garden, do I have a cooler section of my garden? Do I have a section of my garden that gets a wee bit of midday shade or filtered sun? That'll keep the plant from being as stressed out as it would be if I had it on a full southern exposure.
Mine's total sun.
So it's about placement, and it's about keeping an eye on your plants. It's about keeping an eye on your soil. I always try to encourage people.
Full sun.
Yeah. I encourage people.
But depending on what, I think it's what your full sun is.
Yeah. Because full sun in one area feels a lot different to a plant. It feels a lot different to us. So you can only imagine what a plant feels like when it's like, oh, 16 hours? You want me to do this for
full
16
sun Carmel
hours?
versus full sun Fresno
full sun,
is two different.
Right here, this is pretty hot today.
Yeah.
And sorry, just going back to the poppies. So I've tried to grow Matilda poppies. I'm probably on like 6 of them. I'm probably on 6.
Okay.
And I randomly saw one in our area off the side of the road driving by, and I told Shelly to pull her, but she wouldn't. And she kept on cruising by.
It was dangerous. There was no way to pull over, so let it be known.
She's not lying.
She's
not lying though, because I know she would have pulled over. But like, what is the trick to the Matilda? So mine just look like somebody ate the tops and they're just hanging out.
Okay. But they're not dead?
No, they're not dead. I have 5 of them.
Then you're fine.
Looking like that.
So they are not the quickest to take off unless they're in like optimal conditions.
Okay.
So it's not the worst thing in the world. I personally think that they are well worth the wait. You do want to make sure that you put them in an area where you're okay with them there, and you're okay with them 5 feet away and another 5 feet away in every direction. They are runners, especially if you have a loose soil, which most people don't. I happen to, so now I have
Yours have run away.
30-foot by 40-foot section of the garden where they're just popping up everywhere. The nice thing is it's another one where you can pretty easily pull them back out and keep them in check.
Okay.
And what I get out of them is well worth the little bit of effort it takes to get rid of them when they're not where I want. Big takeaways is once they do get established, they will take off for you. I find that they look best and I'm happiest with them if I cut them back every year really hard.
So should I cut them back to like right here? They're about this tall right now.
How long have they been in?
Maybe some it varies. Maybe 6 months, maybe 8 months.
Okay, if they've been in less than a year, I usually give them a full year without cutting them back at all.
Okay. Oh boy, patience for that. I'm waiting.
She's an impatient flower.
No.
Somebody accused gardeners of being patient people years ago. I was like, oh, I'm the worst. I've straight up gone out into the backyard to check on the same plant twice in one day to see if it had grown at all. Like, that is who I am as a...
That's amazing.
I love
but
that.
That's why, I love annuals. That's why I love inviting a lot of different plant material into my garden, because then there's always something that's moving. There's always something that's doing
There's
something.
always action.
There's somebody to take the heat off of our little slow pokes in the garden who are slower to develop. But fall planting is pretty close to critical. So fall through spring planting is ideal for Ramia. Really doing a fall planting is the best time to get it in, or winter. I do a ton of my planting for natives during the winter months because I want to wait until the rainfall has reliably started. I don't want that one burst of rain that we tend to get in October and then a month and a half of dry. If we do have rain like that, it's important to irrigate on top of the natural rainfall that occurs until we get to a place where we have reliably moist soils. Last year we never had that because the rain was deep when it happened, but it was very sporadic. And so a lot of plant development and root development I would have expected for that time of year wasn't happening unless I was providing supplemental water. So it's important to not only pay attention to when the rain falls, but the durations in which it doesn't fall. And you want to keep in mind, what is the frequency in which this is happening, and is it enough to support the plant growth I would expect this time of year. I actually do almost no supplemental water during the summer for my natives. I do all of my supplemental water in the fall and the tail end of spring.
To get them to that.
Just because that is how they occur in nature, is to develop all of this, like they bolster themselves up.
Yeah.
So they draw up an excess of moisture, they develop their growth, they do all the active growing and supporting to push through a dry season. They've developed to go dry during the summer. I usually spend a year getting them developed, and then I walk away from them after that. I do have bougier sections of my garden where they get
the classier
extra
ladies
water.
that need a little bit more love, I guess.
Yeah. Or I'll give them a little extra shade so they're not as stressed out. But for the most part, I've got my natives off water during the summer months. And again, I'm up in Santa Rosa, so it's quite a bit hotter than it is here.
Yeah.
It is cooler than where you guys are
Yeah,
at.
we have
But
to
like,
supplement.
Yeah.
I have a beastly Romnea. She's about 8 feet tall. She's about yay big, and she gets 0 supplemental water during the summer.
And we should clarify what we're talking about. They're the, I say Matilda, but it's not. It's Matilija poppy, and it's the egg, the fried egg. So it's a big white,
They're
beautiful flower with a big yellow center.
Yeah.
You see them as a native. They're, like you said, 6
Growing
feet
in
tall along the
cracks
road.
on the side of the road.
And they are really, really good supporters of pollinators.
Oh,
Oh,
we love
I
that.
love that. We tried to put one. We have one in the
Yeah.
school garden. Do we?
We do. We have one in our natives. We have a native plant bed at the garden. It's 10 by 10. And we have things like the California fuchsia. We have some poppies. We have a couple other things that aren't native but are pollinators to attract.
Yeah.
But we did try to put one there. So fingers crossed that we can get to 8 feet by 30 feet. Actually, no, it won't even fit in there.
Like,
Never mind.
Don't do
Never
that.
mind.
I was just like,
never
no
mind.
room
You
for
just
it
said
to
you had a
go.
10 by 10 bed.
It's
I was
okay.
just like, that
We'll
would be your
keep her-
whole
We pack it
bed.
in, girl. When we do vegetable gardening plant,
We'll
people are
keep
like,
her
you need to
contained.
save 6 inches. You got to measure. We're like, no, Shelly and I, we don't do
We'll
that.
trim her back.
We'll trim her back. Yeah. We
Yeah,
pack
so
it in.
once a year cut back on those. Typically you do them in the fall. I
Okay.
skipped mine last fall and regretted it this summer.
I always hear that.
So
Okay,
I
regret
did a late summer pushback,
Okay.
which seems to not have been an issue, but it
We'll have to do that.
Okay, cool.
We'll get there.
All
Well,
right.
thank you,
Yeah,
Colleen.
thank
I
you
mean,
so much.
we always say I learned so much when
Totally.
we're out on the road or meeting with people. And so, Colleen, like I've learned 8,000 things today that I didn't know ahead of time. So
And we see
if-
so many plants here that
come
I've never
here
seen
if you have
before.
questions. Curious Flora, Richmond. It's the best.
Can you imagine if we fell into this? Oh my gosh. You know how cute would this be if you planted up a Halloween container and then you had this and then you put
my
like
gosh.
a pumpkin?
Does it hurt, actually?
Guys, yeah, this is legit. Deliciously wicked, fuzzy bluish green, attractively lobed leaves held on furry orange stems. Oh my god.
This is
I have
horrifying.
never seen. I know. This isn't
it's
like little
amazing,
shop
though.
over. It is.
How big does it get? I can't even.
I can't.
I don't want to touch it.
3 by 3. Making a super. This is here.
This is Little Shop
3
of
by
Horrors.
3.
This is totally Little Shop of Horrors. Yes. Whoa. I've never
Invest
seen
in a
anything like that.
container.
Yeah.
Well-drained soil. Protect from frost. That is insane.
The crazy part is it. Okay, Janey, question for you.
What's that?
When you're picking a plant,
Yeah.
say you were buying this plant right here.
Yeah.
Do you try to get the fullest, the like most adult plant,
Okay,
or
what-
do you get
Are you
the
asking,
youngest?
Are you asking what do I do?
Yes.
Or are you asking what you should do?
Both.
Okay, so what I do is I try and get the biggest, the one that's already blooming. Right?
Okay.
Because why not?
It's established.
Immediate, like, satisfaction, right? But what you're supposed to do is you're supposed to buy one that's like medium size, like this one, because that means that it's rooted in, but it hasn't hit the edge of the can yet. And so when you plant this in your garden, it's just going to continue growing. And so this one will establish in your garden supposedly way better than this one, right? So if you want a bigger, stronger plant, you want to get something like this. Me personally, I still want to buy something like that.
That has a flower already.
But I've been told many times to go for that one. To see Curious Flora plants. So we're going to be in Northern California this year. Next year we're going to push down into Southern and Central California, and we look forward to seeing you soon.
Yes, I can't wait. We'll be looking for you there, but we're also still going to come here because it's beautiful.
Yay.
So 2 options for us.
And
When you go to the nurseries to ask for your
Yeah, so when you do visit your own local nursery, reach out to the owners there, reach out to the people working there, let them know that you'd like to see our plants. And I will say, no matter where you shop, we love seeing people supporting their local nurseries.
Same.
It is the best way to get face time with somebody who knows about plants, cares about plants. I always say that a confident gardener is a gardener for life. It's somebody who feels good about what they do. There's a lot less tears when you have access to people who know, who have one-on-one experience with the plant material, who can give you some good advice and steer you in the right direction. And if you see something taking a bit of a downturn, reach out to your local nurseryman. Let them know that you've got this plant, you love this plant, you want to see this plant thrive. They're going to point you in the right direction. So shop at your local nurseries, keep an eye out for curious plants, and where you don't see them, ask for them.
Thank you so much, Colleen. Thank you guys. We're going to get these home, planted, and we'll keep you posted how they do.